Hello, and G-Man here. Been a while since I've done actually a vlog, mainly because I have a sort of vlog for, I've been too busy and the camera was not charged. I'm down in Doncaster at the moment. Tomorrow is the video game market, which I will be working, but I'll probably be doing some pickups as well. So I might, on top of this, I might be doing another video. Well, not another video, but I'll be adding on to this video, like maybe what I picked up or something, if I pick anything up at all. So yeah, until then. Well, I'm back from Doncaster. It's now Saturday the 13th. I have to excuse the lighting in the first segment because it was in a hotel room and I didn't know how the footage would take, because obviously this is a GoPro, I can't see the footage until I play on something. So anyway, but yeah, I did some pickups yesterday. First of all, I'll go on to the donations. Well, donations. First of all, good friend Ryan. Yeah, you got a shout out. You bought me this. It's basically it's essential, like Sega games, like Mega Drives and Sega CD and Master System stuff is all in here. But interestingly, it's dated from 92 and 93, I think Ryan said. It's missing some stuff, like for example, here's a good example. The Streets of Rage 1 and 2 are on that page, and if you can see that. But if you go to the next page, Friday, there's no Streets of Rage 3. But there are other magazines which he has, so that's the first donation. Thank you, Ryan. I'll buy you a beer. Second donation is, sorry if I'm disappearing off camera. It's from Elliot, also good friend. I'm not calling you work colleagues because you're more than that, you're good mates. He bought me Dynasty Warriors 2. Now, interestingly, I'll come to that in a bit when I show you the rest of my pickups. There's a reason he bought me this, because I've been talking to him about what, because I want to start collecting properly. He's completing box and everything. So thank you, Elliot, for that. Now on to my pickups. I will start with the Mega Drive game I bought, which was Mickey Mania, which was recommended by Ryan. If I ever need Mega Drive or Sega information, he's my go-to guy. But yeah, completing box. I never actually owned this. I wanted Castle of Illusion and World of Illusion, but at the same time Ryan said, "Oh, Mickey Mania, that's a brilliant game, go out and buy it." So I did, and you see the price sticker still on there, I've not removed it. So that was my only Mega Drive pickup. But if I wanted to, well, I do want to start actually collecting. Mega Drive is one system that I definitely want to collect for. Games are becoming pricey now because I think people maybe like moving on from Nintendo, going for the Mega Drive stuff, but it's from my childhood. It was my first console, so Mega Drive is my main collection. Second individual game I got was on the Dreamcast. Oddly enough, I bought the Dreamcast excuse me, at the last video game market at a bargain price of 20 quid. I can't remember the name of the vendor. Had all the cables, but I've not been able to play because I've not had any Dreamcast games. That can all change. I know, I'm Soul Calibur, so the right way up. From the same vendor, I think. Yeah, from the same vendor as Mickey Mania. And thankfully he brought the price down to £22, so not 2 quid off, which is Retro Plushy Games, that's who I got them from. I had a panic then, I thought the disc wasn't in there, but the disc is in there, manual's in there, so yeah, complete in box. So yeah, my first Dreamcast game, full caliber, which I can't test my Dreamcast because I suddenly realised it has an RF cable. I need a SCART lead because I have no way to play RF on my TV because I've got an HD TV. People probably say, use a small TV. I have a small TV, but I've got nowhere to put it. So they're my two individual system ones. Now on to, what shall I do next? Yeah, do these first. Right. The PlayStation pickups. So some of these I originally had, but back in the day when I wasn't collecting and I was trading stuff in to get credit from like Game Station or Game. I can remember vividly, I traded a load of games in a Game Station so I could get Bioshock, the first one. And I think I managed to trade in a load of PlayStation 2 games, PS1 games, and some PC stuff. I amounted to enough to get Bioshock. Now I'm like, oh, I've got to repurchase everything. So, excuse me, the first one I purchased, odd enough, was my first PlayStation game. That's the thing about that. That's Die Hard Trilogy. It's not the best of games because I found it really hard. I think I only ever completed the second one, Die Hard 2, which is like a light gun game, but you don't need a light gun, you can just control it. Die Hard 1 was like a third-person shooter in the Nakatomi building, and Die Hard 3 was a driving game, driving one, which is all packed into one disc. Again, complete in box, manual and everything. So yeah, that was one of the games I traded in. It was weird when I was cataloguing my games. I went back and I looked at the list and thought, oh, I don't have Die Hard Trilogy. I thought I had it. I must have traded it in. Another game which I hadn't traded in, I don't want to get all these again, is the first SmackDown. I was a big fan of wrestling back in the Attitude Era. I still have all the N64 wrestling games, apart from Warzone, which I think I traded in. There you go, there we go. But I still have WrestleMania, I still have No Mercy, I still have the two main WCW games. I got WCW Mayhem as well on the N64. Oh, excuse me, I need to readjust. I'm sat on the bed at the moment. I don't know how this is going to. I hope it turns out well. If not, you're going to miss the top of my head. That's why I'm sort of punched over. Yeah. Also, complete in box. The story behind me trading all the wrestling games in, especially the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2 ones, was by the time I'd got SmackDown v Raw, the first one on the PS2, which I still have, I thought, well, if they're all essentially the same game, I'll just trade all of my old SmackDown games in. And obviously now I'm looking back and I'm like, oh, why did I do that? So yeah, my aim is to get all the SmackDown games again, and the PS2 ones again. Right, now on to stuff I've never actually owned. First one is Soul Blade. Notice the pattern here. Like I said, I'll come to the end about stuff. It's in an okay condition. The back of the case is a bit cracked, but the PlayStation games, the cases do tend to get a bit scratched. Again, complete in box. I'm going to stop opening them because all the games I got were complete in box. I was being very fussy. I was opening up all the cases like, where's the manual? Oh, the manual's missing. I won't buy it. So everything I've got is complete in box. I don't see the point in collecting unless it's complete in box. I'm being funny like that, and I'm trying to avoid platinum games. I don't ask me why, but I want original looking. That's why I was a bit disappointed I got Die Hard Trilogy in that one, because it's an EA Classics one, not the original release. I think I think it's called Black Label, which is just a standard black PlayStation label. I'd prefer to go then than the platinum, which is why you won't see any platinum games in my purchases. So yeah, so Soul Blade. Next one Dead or Alive. This is the last Dead or Alive game I'm actually missing in the fighting series anyway. I own every other Dead or Alive game in some form or another. Like, I've got Dead or Alive 2 on the PlayStation 2, but I don't have it on the Dreamcast. That sort of thing. I don't have Dead or Alive Ultimate on the Xbox either, because I think that was Dead or Alive 1 and Dead or Alive 2, I think. You might have to correct me, I can't remember, but I now have all the fighting games in the series. I do have Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball 1, I don't have 2, and 3 is another matter. It wasn't released in the UK, not physically anyway. So that was all my PS1 pickups. That's another system from my childhood I'd want to collect for. Games aren't too expensive on the PS1 unless it's really rare. Like the Crash Bandicoots are coming up in price. I already own all the Crash Bandicoots, which I got from Andy Brown from Console Passion. Go check his store out. I would like the Spyro games, but they're turning pricey now. But as I said, the PS1 is another system I'll collect for, because the PS1 is another system from my childhood, along with the N64. But I don't know what it is. I don't want to collect for the N64, but I do. But it's decided what games to get for the N64. But that's something else. So on to my PS2 pickups. Besides Elliot's Gift, this one I bought by accident because I wanted it on a different system, and it was Crash of Titans. I want to get all the Crash Bandicoot games, but this one I wanted on the 360 because it's apparently the better version. Because this came out at the time when the 360 came out, the PS2 was starting to trail behind. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're a collector, then it's probably really essential to have both versions, but I wanted it on the Xbox. I'm not too disappointed because I got it relatively cheap. But I do definitely want the other PS2, I think it's Wrath of Cortex and Twin Sanity. Excuse me, on the PS2. I definitely want those two. But I wanted this on the Xbox. But it's one of my pickups. Nextly, I am after the first one of this series, because I think a friend of mine used to have it and they used to play it. It was a really good game. I think it's really hard though. But I picked up Tenchu. Which one is it? Fatal Shadows. I think this is the fourth one in the series. You got Tenchu 1, which is the one I was after on the PS1, and you got Tenchu 2, which is also on the PS1, and Tenchu something or other. I can't remember which one it was. There's another PS2 game which I want, but I thought, I know, I'll collect the Tenchu games. There's not many of them, so that was another one. Second Tag. I used to have this when I first bought the PlayStation 2. Now I didn't trade this in, I actually donated it to my brother, who I love to bits and who's got most of my previous stuff, because he has got my original Mega Drive and all my original games, because thankfully I didn't sell it, I gave it to him when I bought my PlayStation. But obviously later down the line I have to repurchase a Mega Drive. It's all that sort of thing. But he still plays it. That Mega Drive still works, and he's obviously got all my donated games. But same with the PlayStation. I wasn't really playing fighting games back then, so I donated Tekken Tag to him. He's big into his fighting games. I can't beat him on any fighting game, believe me. But yeah, I plan on getting all the Tekken games. This is my first one, which is kind of weird because my first ever Tekken game I bought was Tekken Tag. Until that, obviously I gave it to my brother. Next one, 007 Nightfire. I now have every single Bond game on the PS2. This is the only one I was missing. All the other games on the Bond games on the PS2 are original, which I purchased. so they've never been traded in. But I am a massive Bond fan, so that's why I probably still got with them. And this was the only one I was missing from the collection. So now I have all the Bond games, which I'm quite happy about. I have actually played that. I used to play a lot of multiplayer with friends and whatnot. They used to gang up on me. I don't know why. Lastly, on the PS2 we have Dynasty Warriors 3. Yes, I bought both Dynasty Warriors 2 and 3. Most people say, oh, but they're the same type of game. Well, yeah, you just go around killing people. But there's different levels, and it's based on the Dynasty lineage in Japan or something. Someone might correct me. So yeah, Dynasty Warriors 3. Lastly, for the games anyway, I've got 2 PS3 games. First one I got was from the same store, so I can't say firstly because I got them at the same time, but Soul Calibur 4. I'll get to that in a minute. I do have, you noticed in the earlier bits, I had Soul Blade and Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur 4. Never played it. Again, fighting game I wasn't big into, but for some reason I want to get fighting games. I don't know why. And secondly, Dynasty Warriors 7. Again, never played it. I played Dynasty Warriors 2. Again, I think I gave that to my brother, who now, I think he's got all the Dynasty Warriors games. Lastly, this is my main pickup. Combination of, again, Andy Brown scooping this out for me from Console Passion. It didn't buy it from Console Passion. But I mentioned to Andy I was after one, and obviously I work with Replay and whatnot. He came over to me, oh, I found this for you because he knew I was after it. And Sega Saturn, which I think I got from a fellow YouTuber. I think it was Tutti UK. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll put a link to his channel below. You can go and check out some of his pickup videos and whatnot, because he was selling a stand. Selling a stand? He was selling at a stand, and he had a Saturn, and bonus, I don't know if you can see that, Sega Rally Championship was in it, which he told me it was in it, so, and he just pretty much gave it a freebie, so thank you very much for that. So I pretty much have all the Sega consoles now. The only one I'm missing is the Master System, which I do want. I don't have a Game Gear, but the handhelds I'm not too fussed about. So yeah, like I said, I got Dreamcast last Video Game Market. So Master System is my only one I'm missing. So all in all, it was a good show for me. Some good pickups. Now, the reason I bought just Dynasty Warriors or just something, I'm aiming to get all the Dynasty Warriors games. I'm only missing a couple now. All the Tekkens, all the Soul Calibur games. I also plan on basically I want full collections there. All the main fighting games are like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. Excuse me. Street Fighter my least. I don't know what it is. I'm just not a big fan of Street Fighter. Always more like a fan of like Mortal Kombat or Dead or Alive is my main franchise, and not for the reason you think. Most people think, oh, but the physics on the it's generally a good fighting game, if I'm honest. Most people say, well, it's not. It's people's opinions. Virtual Fighter is another one I'm not too interested in, but I probably will collect them because I'm collecting. But I do want full collections. I'm not just going to the stores now just saying, oh, this. I'm actually looking at specific games to actually complete a series of games rather than grab. It may eventually come to that, but at the moment I just want all the select games, like all Soul Calibur, all Dynasty Warriors. I'm only missing a handful. Same with the Sonic games. I've got nearly all the Mega Drive games apart from which one am I missing? Oh, Sonic Spinball I haven't got, and Sonic 3D I don't have. I've got the others. I've already got all the Streets of Rages. I've got both Taz games on the Mega Drive. Disney games are really good. For some reason I was really after Aladdin, but they were coming out really pricey, like £22 for Aladdin. I was like, nah, that seems a tad on the pricey side. So I don't know. I might get lucky and buy it at some point, a bit cheaper than that. So yeah, but other than that, it's a really good show. Didn't spend as much as I thought I would, which is good. It's always nice to come back home with cash I can put back in the bank and save until the next one. But yeah, that was my pickups, my vlog. Sorry I didn't get any footage from the show because I was working, so I couldn't exactly walk around with the camera and just go. You can probably get other people's footage. Is it Jebs? Something, Gems84 I think the channel name is. She did a really good walk around video. Again, I'll put a link to her channel in the description. But until then, this is my vlog / pickups from the video game market in Doncaster, and I'll see everyone next time.